This has to be a joke.
To go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
Last night I had a dream about Keir Starmer. I don't know how he managed to pop into my brain, but basically he ran away. He was meant to be waiting to answer a few questions about something, and that's when he ran towards an awaiting car which had the handles that retract. He jumped in, I knocked on the window before the car sped away. I don't know what I was thinking or why he was in there. He was sweating and everything. The entire bunch of them have a lot to answer for. Their handling of the small boat crisis is a dereliction, in my view, of duty.
They said they would smash the gangs. They palpably haven't. That this ridiculous scheme of 17 in, 1 out that was announced a few weeks ago is a total gimmick. Labour have no plan whatsoever to stop the boats, and that's a tragedy because the boats will keep coming. We'll need more asylum hotels, and there'll be more and more social unrest as a result.
And last week, Yvette Cooper's office's answer to this was talking about overloaded boats. New laws would mean that people smugglers could be prosecuted if the boats were overloaded by more than 80 people, inadvertently legitimising boats that carry fewer. Not the sharpest tools in the box, although Keir is the son of a toolmaker.
Dad was a toolmaker. He worked in a factory all of his life.
Yeah, he made you. Now the Home Office are going to make adverts that promote channel crossings punishable by up to 5 years in prison. How ridiculous. I've got 2 problems with this. A, you've got to catch them first, which hasn't gone down well, even though Patrick Christie's could find them.
You are a human trafficker, aren't you?
Are there?
Yes. Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? Why are you bringing people illegally to Britain? So if you have a look just quickly, right?
See, it's not that difficult, is it? And B, our jails are full of foreign criminals, which we should actually deport. So it makes no sense at all. A complete distraction from the real problem. Now we're planning to import thousands from Gaza. Do you get the feeling that our government really doesn't care about putting an end to this vile trade? All right, so to discuss my niggle, I'm joined by immigration lawyer Ivan Sampson. Ivan, thank you very much for joining me. Really good to talk to you. Ivan, what are your thoughts on this sort of latest plan in terms of kind of prosecuting people if they've advertised something to do with getting here illegally via the small boats?
Well, I mean, it's going to be catch me if you can, really. I mean, it seems like another sort of announcement by the government without thinking through carefully how they're actually going to prosecute. And I mean, even the smashing the criminal gangs, it has been an abysmal failure. And you have to remember that these gangs are not organised as we might think, because as soon as one is shut down, there'll be another one popping up. Because so long as there's profits to be made in this business, and as long as there's a flow of customers, you're going to have continued supply from the gang members. So I'm afraid they'll be chasing their own tail with regard to stopping it, because it just will not happen.
And to be honest, anybody can see that. I could see that straight away. What about the plan that Yvette Cooper had, that if the boat was overloaded by 80 people, more than 80 people, that you could prosecute the people who'd put the people on the boat?
Well, again, it's about trying to find out who's responsible. You've got to prosecute the right person, the mind behind the plan. And they're so far removed from the action on the water that you're just not going to get. So even if you prosecute, say, the person who's at the Attila doing that, there'll be somebody above him who will just replace that individual with somebody else. It's just, again, the Home Office not really thinking through what the practical realities of actually prosecuting or using these new powers they want to bring into law. So I think, again, it's ill thought. Again, the only way you're going to stop this terrible trade is to stop the demand. And the only way we're going to stop the demand, if I, as a channel crossing asylum seeker, know that I'm going to be removed when I get to the UK. If I know that I'm going to be removed, that back to my own country, I will not spend thousands of dollars paying these traffickers. The fact is, we're not removing people. We're not sending people back to where they come from, the failed asylum seekers. So the trade will continue.
Well, also, even if you do catch these people and you're going to prosecute them in the UK, a lot of them then get access to legal aid, which once again, then we end up paying for. And then there's that merry-go-round of a failed appeal and then again and again and again.
Yes, and also if we do put them in prison, we've got to pay for that privilege. And we've already got overcrowded prisons as it is. So, no, that's not, I don't think it's a successful policy. It's not going to work. The stop the boats policy didn't work. The smash the gang policy didn't work. Making it illegal to cross the UK, you remember Priti Patel, that didn't work. So the only way they can do that is to have an agreement, an EU-wide agreement, with all the countries linked back to where people come from, to have an international treaty where people are removed back to their homeland. That is the only thing that's going to work. Not even sending them to France will work, because all you'll have is the French then overloaded with asylum seekers. People have to be returned to their home country. Nothing else is going to work.
What is stopping that from happening then? Because if everyone can see that is quite clear, what is stopping that particular thing from working?
Well, the reason we had the Rwanda plan, because we couldn't return people with countries we don't have a returns agreement with. That is a problem. So let's just take, for example, Yemen, no returns agreement. Afghanistan, no returns agreement. Take Syria, no returns agreement. So as soon as you get here as a Syrian national or an Afghan national, we cannot return them to anywhere. So, and you remember the Supreme Court didn't actually make the policy unlawful. What it said was not Rwanda. So I think there needs to be some agreements where we can return people to other countries that the courts will be happy with.
But again, even if you said you're going to return them or deport them, they then get their legal aid and we end up in a cycle again. So, I just think, is there no way that you can have a system where they actually can't get access to legal aid because they've broken the laws and entered the country illegally, and therefore they are not entitled to it?
Well, this is it, you see. The government, in order to properly to stop this, has to make some really difficult decisions that as British nationals we're not used to. Harsh decisions that may on the face of it seem morally wrong. And also we've got the other issue is the European Convention. So we've got to comply with the part of the European Convention like Article 8. And I know Yvette Cooper's going to try and water down the impact of Article 8 when people make claims on human rights grounds. But I think that will be challenged.
But even Germany and other countries who are members of part of the ECHR are able. Germany recently deported a load of people, and Greece was able to house people in tents. Do you know what I mean? Can we not A, make it less attractive, and then B, interpret the laws differently?
Look, we can. Again, you've got to make harsh decisions. Take Italy, flouts European law, blatantly flouts them. Poland is another country which blatantly flouts the European Convention. We can't do that. No, we can't be the sort of country that breaks international law.
Well, but they all are.
Even if it's politically convenient to do that. And so we've got to now. If you don't want to be part of the convention, come out.
But the others are interpreting it in their own way as well. And if it requires it in the national interest of that country, they are making decisions and they're interpreting it differently. Can I just ask you very briefly, because I've not got much time left, I've been told to move on. But what about if we had cruise ships and people could go on those cruise ships and we could then process them there? Is there some issue and problem with that?
Well, there's no reason why we can't process them in France. Why even have cruise ships?
But it seems... But we'll need some sort of agreement with the French, it seems, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So what about having cruise ships? They're very nice. People normally pay for them to have that, because that would also act as a deterrent, I suspect.
Not if you're desperate, fleeing persecution. You have
Well, they're
to
fleeing
remember,
France. I mean, let's be honest.
50% of people fleeing are genuine asylum seekers. And
By
if you
what-
are desperate, a cruise ship is not going to put you off now.
But what it will do is put you not on the UK soil. So it puts you there and gives us time to then process. It means that you're not in the UK draining the resources of this country and using... We then can send things bespokely to you, but you're not in the community draining all the resources here.
I hear what you're saying, but when you physically touch land, you're here. And there's a mental issue here
But
as
they
well.
won't touch
because
land.
They won't touch land. They won't
No.
be physically in the UK.
No, they'll
but
stay
you
on
remember
sea.
the Bibi Stockholm fiasco?
Well, again,
and so
yeah.
that was tried and it didn't work. And
Well, it only
the
didn't work
cost-
because there wasn't the will, but I think the cruise ships would work this time. There's nothing legally that would permit you from not doing that, though, is there?
No, nothing at all. But,
Right.
but you have to imagine the cost involved will probably be more than hotels. The cost of
I
the Bibi
doubt it.
Stockholm. Well, you should have looked at the figures. It's quite horrendous because, yeah, it's horrendous figures, the cost of these cruise ships.
I'm half okay to pay for that because it means that they won't be on land and infiltrating the infrastructure of this country. I think it will, in the long run, on the broader view, would be cheaper. But either, Samson, thank you so much. Really good to talk to you. Thank you for that.